Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're digging into a really fascinating conversation from Sergey Brin at the Stanford School of Engineering Centennial.
That's right. Our mission here is to really unpack this for you. We're looking at the real origin story of Google, Brin's very candid take on the current AI race.
Including Google's own mistakes.
Exactly. And then finally, what this all means for you, for anyone trying to navigate a career right now.
And the thing that just grounds this whole story,
Yeah.
for me, is that Google was funded by a grant from the National Science Foundation.
Yeah, the NSF, for the Digital Libraries Project. This wasn't two guys in a garage in the classic sense.
Not at all.
This was academic research funded by the government. That first server, the one that ran PageRank, it's literally in a museum now. It just shows you how that early investment it can change the world.
Which brings us to the event itself. Stanford Engineering Centennial was formed back in 1925, bringing together these really foundational departments.
Right. Chemical engineering, electrical, mechanical, and what was then mining and metallurgy.
So, heavy industry. The real nuts and bolts.
And the celebration wasn't some, stuffy academic conference. They had panels, sure, but also a massive party, 3,000 people.
I also have to mention, the dean's job at the football game was to drive a motorized couch.
With Andrew Luck as a passenger, right?
With Andrew Luck. It captures that Silicon Valley culture, deeply serious and, at the same time, completely irreverent.
Well, and that connects directly to the school's DNA. You can't talk about Stanford engineering without talking about Dean Fred Terman.
He is the architect.
He really is. He mentored Hewlett and Packard, he mentored the Varian brothers, and crucially, he helped set up the Stanford Industrial Park.
Which we now know as the Stanford Research Park.
Exactly. He wasn't just teaching engineers, he was building the ecosystem right next door for them to launch companies.
So that research on, say, semiconductors or early AI, it could just flow right out of the lab and into a commercial product.
It's a symbiotic relationship. It defined the whole region.
Okay, so let's put Sergey Brin into this ecosystem. He shows up in 1993 as a PhD student.
And he described the building, Margaret Checks Hall, as having these creaky little rooms and doors. Not exactly glamorous.
But he said it was a very creative and free time.
And that freedom is everything. He talked about spending a ton of time on this side project, trying to reverse shred documents.
So scanning shredded paper and writing code to piece it back together.
Yeah.
Did it work?
He said he never fully got it working. But the real point, the thing he emphasized, was nobody ever told me not to do that.
That's the key. No one was policing his time.
Right. And that freedom leads to this amazing lock-picking story.
Okay, yeah, this is incredible. So he learns to pick old-school physical locks. But then they move to the new Gates Computer Science building.
All electronic locks.
So game over.
You'd think. But he sees scaffolding on the outside of the building. It's still under construction.
No.
Oh, yes. He climbs out of his fourth-floor office window onto the scaffolding, makes his way over to a balcony that still had a physical lock.
Picks it,
gets into a room with the computer that makes the key cards, and just creates a master key for himself.
That's the whole mindset in one story. You hit a wall and you decide to climb the outside of the building to get around it.
And that same mindset, that same initiative, got applied to his actual work. He meets Larry Page in 1995.
Right. And they start collaborating on that NSF Digital Libraries project.
Which leads to their algorithm, initially called Backrub.
Which, of course, becomes PageRank.
Now, you'd think inventing something like PageRank means you're just destined for success. But not really. His first ventures were failures.
This is a huge lesson. Before Google, his big idea was a pizza ordering system.
He thought ordering food online was the future.
And it just completely flopped.
Completely, because the system worked by automatically faxing the order to the pizzeria.
Yeah, let me guess.
Pizzerias, as he put it, don't actually check their faxes very often.
So you have this great tech, but the human process underneath is broken. A timeless lesson.
Exactly. So then they have PageRank. And their first thought is not, let's start a company, it's, let's license it.
They pitched it to Excite.
Yeah, for $1.6 million. A huge amount for them. And Excite just wasn't interested. One of the great what-ifs in tech history.
And there's that great story about the fake email. A friend faked a reply from Excite.
And saying something like, oh, that's a lot of moolah, but okay. And Brin said they were just in hysterically laughter.
It's so human. They're on the verge of changing everything, and they're just laughing at a joke about a failed deal.
But here's the crucial insight. He only left the PhD program after the licensing failed. They were sort of forced into starting the company.
His advisor apparently told him, Give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, you come back.
And the punchline. He's still technically on a leave of absence from Stanford.
Incredible. So entrepreneurship was plan B.
It was absolutely plan B, and
Right.
that university safety net is what allows for that kind of world-changing risk.
So this academic mindset gets baked into Google from day one. Their mission to organize all the world's information sounds more like a university project than a startup.
It does, and that allowed them to invest in really foundational R&D. But Brin's point about how innovation has changed is so important for today.
He basically said the era of simple internet startups, the pets.coms, that's over.
It's completely over. The level of technical sophistication you need now, especially for AI, is just, it's on another planet. It's deep math, massive compute.
Which changed how they hired. He admits Google now hires people who are much more qualified than I was at the time.
And he specifically mentioned physicists.
Right. Why physicists?
Because the problems aren't just about code anymore. They're about computation at a massive scale, with physical limits. Physicists get that. They bring that deep mathematical rigor.
So that deep part tech becomes the new competitive advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pivot to that. The current AI landscape. Brin's assessment here was brutally honest.
I mean, he just came out and said it. They messed up. They underinvested after they published the Transformer paper.
And for anyone listening, the Transformer is the architecture behind basically every modern AI model. Google invented it.
They invented the engine, and then they were, in his words, too scared to put it in a car for the public.
Why?
Because they were afraid it might say dumb things. That fear of reputational risk, of imperfection, it paralyzed them.
And that allowed OpenAI to just run with it.
Run with it. It's a classic innovator's dilemma.
But he says, despite that mistake, Google still has these three huge long-term advantages.
Right. They're built on that decade plus of academic style investment. First is just talent and algorithms, Google Brain, all that history.
The second is hardware.
The hardware. They're custom chips, the TPUs or tensor processing units. They've been working on those for 12 years. Through, as he put it, a bazillion generations.
So they were building for this future long before the hype.
Long before. And third is just infrastructure. Having data centers at a scale almost no one else on Earth has.
So talent, custom hardware, and global infrastructure. Even if you stumble on product, those are powerful foundations.
They're a huge strategic hedge.
Looking ahead, he said the pace is it's staggering. His joke was, if you skip the news in AI for a month, you're like way behind.
And the question is shifting, right? It's no longer just, can AI do what a person can do?
He calls it the superintelligence question.
Yeah. What things can AI do that a person cannot do? That's the new frontier.
So let's bring this right back to you, the listener. How do you navigate this? Brin sees AI as a tool for massive individual empowerment.
A huge augmenter. For someone who's not an expert, it can give you, an 80 or 90% decent overview on a super complex topic instantly.
He said he uses it constantly himself for brainstorming product ideas, even for choosing gifts for his family.
Right. And his rule of thumb was interesting. He said if he asked for 5 ideas, 3 of them might be junk.
But 2 will have a grain of brilliance.
Exactly. It's not about replacing thought. It's about accelerating it. You can cycle through ideas so much faster.
Which brings us to his career advice. A student asked, since AI is getting good at coding, should I switch my major to, say, comparative literature?
And his answer was so counterintuitive, he said, no, absolutely not.
What was the logic?
His logic was that AI is also really good at creative tasks. And an error in a comparative literature essay is, well, it's not a big deal.
But an error in code can be catastrophic.
Right. He basically argued AI is probably even better at comparative literature than it is at writing flawless production-ready code. Plus, better coders make better AI.
So you lean into the technical complexity.
You lean in.
Then the conversation went deeper. He posed this huge question about the future of the university itself.
Yeah, he was basically asking, if information is everywhere now, online courses, AI tutors, what is a university for? What's its irreplaceable value?
And his answer was density.
The density of talent all in one place, bumping into each other. The serendipity, that's the magic you can't replicate online.
He also noted that the time from an idea to a product is shrinking so fast, that old academic model of letting an idea marinate for 5 years might be changing.
Unless it's something truly radical, like a new quantum architecture, that really does need that long, protected incubation period.
And finally, he touched on what he thinks is being underestimated right now, besides AI.
2 big things. First, material science. using AI to design totally new materials. And second, synthetic biology. He called it a revolution that deserves its own spotlight.
I also just loved his little story about feeling self-conscious as a student.
Oh, yeah, being too embarrassed to ask what management science and engineering even was.
It's just a reminder that everyone, even Sergey Brin, starts out feeling a little lost.
Totally. So to sum all this up for you, Google's origin shows the power of academic freedom, of having a safety net. It was Plan B.
And Brin's lessons for today are all about technical depth,
Right.
long-term bets on things like custom hardware, and learning to tolerate failure even when you let a huge lead slip away.
The big takeaway, really, is about your own choices. AI is this incredible tool, this augment for your own capability. But when you think about where to put your time and energy,
It's not just about getting information anymore. That's cheap. That's everywhere.
the fundamental question Brin leaves us with is, what's the value of that physical density, of being in a place where you might just bump into the next world-changing collaboration?
It's that choice between the information stream and the serendipity of collision.
And it makes you wonder if maybe that environment, that connection, is the real scarce resource now.
So go augment your own learning, as Brin does, even if the AI on your phone today feels like, in his words, an ancient model. Thanks for joining the Deep Dive.